On this week's episode of the Broken Traditions podcast, I want to talk about the net positive of X, formerly known as Twitter. Let me know what you guys call it, X, Twitter. Let me know what you guys call it in the comments. But this app is having a new feature showing the location of accounts when they were created. So this new feature is called About This Account, and you could click on somebody's profile and you see where the account was created. But before we start this conversation, I want to be very clear. This is not a political episode. I know Elon Musk, the owner of Twitter, the owner of X, like I said, whatever you want to call it, has become a political figure. But this conversation isn't about him. This conversation is about something way bigger. A social media platform finally taking the steps to smoke out the bots, and we have to be real with ourselves. This is a good thing. My name is Leron Gaskins, aka Big Ellie.
They call me Big Ellie.
And this is the Broken Traditions podcast, where we discuss the overconsumption of digital devices and how to overcome what I call the digital incarceration. Ironically, our phones is called the cell, and this device is really the digital cell that keep us locked in. If you feel like you need help breaking away from digital incarceration, download my free workbook, The Digital Release, a 7-day blueprint to help you regain control. The link is in the show notes, or if you're watching this on YouTube, it's pinned in the comments. But before I get into why this update is a net positive and why I hope other platforms follow, let me play this reference clip from TBS News explaining it. Check this out. And as always, I'll put links in the descriptions or links in the show notes for you guys to check these videos out. But I want to give you guys this overview on why this is happening and why this is important.
There's a new feature on the social media app X that's causing some concern over the legitimacy of popular political accounts. The update, called About This Account, allows users to see where the account was created, where it's based, and if the username has been changed. Now, after the feature was rolled out this weekend, X users found many conservative and MAGA-associated accounts with tens of thousands of followers turned out to be based in other countries.
That is crazy. That's crazy. And honestly, I knew about this was going on. I'm explaining a little bit later in this episode, but I knew that was going on. But let's continue on.
So let's bring in CBS News contributor Chris Krebs. He's also the former head of the federal government cybersecurity agency, CISA. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, bud.
So, in theory, this seems like a good idea for transparency, but is it backfired?
I don't think so. I think this is actually a development, a feature rollout that X deserves a lot of credit for. It's providing transparency to users. Now, whether they actually take advantage of this feature is a different story. But nonetheless, it is shining a light on this new rage economy that exists on social media, including X, that takes advantage of current things. What's the latest event? As we've seen over the last couple of years, there has been a rightward shift of the platform. And I think what we're really seeing here is foreign-based accounts that are looking to make a little bit of money.
That's crazy. So they had like a Donald Trump type page. It was based in Africa. This page right here, America's First, this is based in Bangladesh. So as you can see, there are these MAGA pages, right? They're using MAGA pages as an example, but these MAGA pages that were based in other countries, speaking about political issues in our country, creating rage bait content. That is so problematic. But like I said, what X is doing is a net positive. This is something that needs to be done, and this is something that should have been done a long time ago. But let's continue on with this video. And like I said, I know I have the interruptions of this video, but I would leave a link in the show notes so you guys can watch it in its entirety without my interruptions.
And taking advantage of the MAGA movement in the moment.
So there are two things that I was thinking about when I saw the story that you sent to me yesterday, which is that on one hand, you have the economics of it, right? That there is this monetization policy at X that allows people based in Nigeria and Moldova and Nepal or wherever the people are basing their accounts to create these accounts that appear to be adjacent to, in this case, we're talking about the conservative or MAGA movement, and they have no ideology whatsoever. They're just in it for the dollars and cents. And on the other hand, you've got a gullible public. Like, and I don't, maybe gullible is not the right word, but you have people that are willing to sort of believe anything, even though when you look at some of
I want to cut that off real quick. He said gullible is not the right word, but people who are reluctant to believe anything. That to me is gullible, right? I think that's the definition of gullible. Let me know in the comments or email me. Let me know if that's not the definition of gullible. I get it. You want to be in a nice political space and you want to be in the good graces of certain political people, but let's be clear. That is the definition of gullible. But let's continue on.
these accounts, you say these can't be real people. These can't be people that actually believe these things. How does that make you feel as somebody who is responsible for cybersecurity?
Look, it has been a long time concern of mine of this demand for rage-inducing, kind of activating the fight or flight mechanism in the brain. That has been something that we've seen foreign actors, whether it's security services or just grifters, target and take advantage of for years now. So again, I think X deserves some credit to shine a light, to kind of expose some of these movements. I suspect you'll see a bunch of these accounts lose influence and not necessarily be deplatformed, but give a more informed public. And whether people are gullible, I don't know if that's the case. Again, I think people just want to see more of the stuff that resonates with what their worldview is. And we talk about this. I just dropped a masterclass on cyber warfare. But this is one of those things that information that's readily available on the internet, folks need to take a second, take 9 seconds even, and look at what's being presented to you and why. And you're going to be much better off financially, as well as I think mental health wise too.
So why do you think X did it? I mean, I know we're talking about transparency, but if it means that they will perhaps lose some people who have outsized influence on the app and thus provide, for Elon Musk, it's about, density and mass of the users. Why would you do this?
Well, over the last year or so, they have taken a number of steps to increase the transparency on the platform and reduce the prevalence of bots and scammers and grifters. So what we're seeing is there's verification of anyone that makes money on the platform. So you have to give them a credit card, you have to verify your identity. So they already had this information. It wasn't a new feature necessarily they had to technically develop the capability for. It was more, hey, we know where these accounts are based and we're going to show you. And I think there is some concern at X about how the platform may be abused. Again,
that's interesting. That's interesting because I was considering, actually I started my new X account and I was like, oh, I'm gonna be verified. And you do have to submit information for your verification. Like you said, a credit card. And once you become verified, you are now monetized. You could create content and your content could, have some money flowing in. So they knew already where these accounts are coming from, but now they decide they want to start having this open discussion or this open dialogue or this new about this account feature where you can see where these accounts are based in. Now, it's problematic to me to hear that because I feel like the rage bait content that is being created, the rage click content that's being created was, I guess, a good monetization for X. And X didn't want to expose it at the time because the money was flowing in. And it was like, all right, I know money's flowing in. Like this page right here, commentary Donald J. Trump page that's verified, that's based in Africa. We know that this money's coming in. We're getting a cut of that money that they're getting. So we're going to let this keep flowing. I do have a little problem with that, but I'm going to continue on with Mr. Krebs.
Not necessarily by foreign security services or intelligence, but by grifters. And so the head of product, Nikita Beer, promised this was happening. He rolled it out. And I think it's been pretty successful.
Yeah, I read a reporter for the Free Press put out an article where he said, after seeing this, he's like the only American on X, right? Because so many of these accounts are from foreign players. And we looked at some of these accounts that have already been disabled. But should we be concerned about others that pop up?
Look, I mean, I think this is going to be something that the platform deals with, that X and the team, the trust and safety team there deals with for the next several years. And in any time that you have these heightened political moments, the 26 midterms are always going to be pulling in more foreign activity, domestic activity. And then 28, the Super Bowl of elections, is going to make it, even that much more important. So
All right, so seeing that, you heard that, right? So shout out to CBS News, right? CBS News for giving that information and that detailed information. But I knew that this was a thing, right? And this is part of the reason why I started to detach from social media. And I started to see the influx of these bot accounts created just purely to rage engage, right? Click accounts, right? I seen some reports, like the guy said in the CBS clip, how the reporter from the Free Press said, I'm probably the only American that's on X after seeing this, right? But I see some reports that said it's up to 51% of accounts online are fake bots. 51% of accounts online are fake bots. And shout out to Lex, shout out to Kofa, shout out to Corey Joe. They all say I'm a troll in real life, right? So for me being a troll in real life, according to these three people that I know personally, I could say I know a troll when I see one. So that's why it was easy for me to see these pages to be so fake. That's why it was so easy for me to see, like, I see what y'all doing. I see the game that y'all playing. And since y'all playing this game, I don't want to be a part of it, right? So I started to step back from social media. And when you see these pages, you have to look at the signs of these pages because they have real clear-cut signs of them being fake pages, right? Some of the things I noticed, right? These pages have no clear description of what they are, what they're about, what they got going on. They have like some ambiguous profile picture, probably something they got from, I don't know, just some random Google search or it could be also some AI generated picture, let's be clear. And these people posting just the right set of words, just to stir up emotions. And it's always on these sensitive or controversial topics, right? I haven't only seen this on X, but it's everywhere, right? YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. But X was the platform that paid the most money for this type of behavior. So if you created this account, got yourself verified, boom, you're able to start making money. And people are so emotionally engaged into this type of content that the money was flowing in because of the ad revenue and all that stuff. And X want to compete with, the likes of YouTube and things of that nature. But the ill part about it, whenever a controversial topic popped up, especially one where one of these bots could have an extreme opinion to create engagement, if you may not notice, the accounts would reply nonstop to every comment. How so? How so could you do this? So me being a content creator, I saw what the game was, right? I saw what was going on. This doesn't look real to me. But to the untrained eye, what it looked like, it looked like somebody's passionate. It looked like somebody who got time today, as they call it, right? But it's obvious because the engagement is so obvious. It was all bot farms. And the crazy part about it, X rewarded this engagement with real money. So the bot farms was out here cashing out. This is the ill part, right? I'm going to go back and show you the screenshot of this. On the CBS News clip I showed, right? They showed America First account that's based in Bangladesh, right? With the tagline, "Good morning, X, God bless America," with the American emoji flag. That page, or that account, I should say, had 67,000 followers on X. 67,000 followers from an account that's called America's First, but is based in Bangladesh. And for context, the America's First movement, right, is similar to MAGA. It's kind of like the same issues, but, I would suggest if you're interested in learning about America First, if you don't know about America First, you could, find content and all over the internet about America's First. But the issue is not about MAGA or America's First. The issue here is the manipulation that these accounts were doing. So imagine, right, this overseas account, this overseas bot pretending to be an American, posting this controversial, polarizing content, and the real Americans in this country are arguing, fighting, stressing, and crashing out all over it. And let me tell you why this is a problem. Because when you engage in that kind of content, the algorithm locks you in. I spoke about the things that happen to you while you get locked into the algorithm. I'll say, so, just binge watch all my content, right? Get locked into my algorithm, learn about why you got locked into the algorithm. And after that, you'll be locked out of the algorithm, or as I call the digital cell, the digital incarceration. But when you get locked into an algorithm, right, you start repeating the talking points that you see that this fake bot created. You start creating these talking points. And when you start creating these talking points, you're doing it online. Then after you do it online, it's going to start spilling into real life. Then you start going down rabbit holes. And suddenly, a fake story or a fake account that created something just for engagement, just for cash, it just creates a fake story, becomes your emotional reality. And bot accounts have bot babies. That's what I call them, bot babies, right? You have the parent bot account, you have bot babies. And the bot babies are in the comments affirming the original post. Or sometimes the bot babies are in the comments arguing with other bot babies. So these two bot babies are arguing, then you see all the stuff arguing, you get real upset in real life that these machines or these bots are talking to each other, arguing with each other because of the parent account said something. So it make the whole thing look real legitimate, right? So you seeing this, you thinking like, damn, this is what our country's at. You see where this is going on? And it's all coming from bots. So on episode 5 of the Broken Traditions podcast, where I talked about AI and creating fake stuff, there was a post that I shared, right? And let me get to this post real quick. I want to read this post. Let me put it right here so I can read it. Okay. So this post was on X, right? Of course, it's on X. And this is from NBA Updates 50. Don't know why the number's 50. Maybe the account was supposed to be run by David Robinson, right? So NBA Updates 50 put a caption with a picture. And the caption says, "Who's the face of the league?" with a magnifying glass looking emoji, right? And he says, Jemele Hill chimes in on Sophie Cunningham's comments about Caitlin Clark being the face of the WNBA, and she got opinions. So they got a picture of Caitlin Clark, a picture of Jemele Hill with a quote from Jemele Hill saying, "You can't be the face of the league if you haven't won a championship." So the reason why a post like this is so problematic, because Caitlin Clark is very polarizing. Jemele Hill is very polarizing. And people who don't like Jemele Hill think Jemele Hill would say something like that because people feel like Jemele Hill create content about race, right? I'm not here or there to discuss that conversation, but I'm just giving you a backstory why this post will work for engagement. And also Jemele Hill, a black woman, talking about Caitlin Clark, a white woman, and how Caitlin Clark, a white woman, is like, I guess, the WNBA white hope, right? If you watch sports, you know what the white hope is about. So now that quote came out. So people are looking at that post. People engaging with that post. People are saying things about Jemele Hill about that post. People saying things about Caitlin Clark about that post. But here's the caveat right here. Jemele Hill had to put this on her on her Twitter. She said, "Delete this. I never said. These fake pages use both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese as rage/clickbait. They make up fake quotes that show you no attribution, and most people are simply too lazy to decipher whether or not it's true." So Jemele Hill had to check that tweet herself, right? But now let's think about how many fake tweets about Jemele Hill that go unnoticed, that she can't check. How many fake tweets or fake quotes about somebody is happening all that time? So we talking about something as minor as sports, but then we could talk about something that's so serious as politics, something that's so serious as, say, a hate crime, something that's so serious, say, as, I don't know, a story about rape. And I have to give X the credit for exposing these fake accounts, the location of these fake accounts. Because if you see an account called America's First with 67,000 followers, and this account is based in Bangladesh, that right there shows how legitimate this page really is. But this is the real damage, though. Bot creators know which topics will enrage Americans. They know how to divide people. They know how to keep this money flowing. And the sad part is, most online spaces today are echo chambers. People not even searching for the truth. They just searching for confirmation. So if you want to make some money, all you have to do is create a fake account, start making some polarizing posts, add some more bot comments to support or to go against the polarizing post, and boom, money, but also division, right? All at the same time. Shout out to Royce White from Please Call Me Crazy. He says they put black versus the white and make away with the green is the American way for a long time. But bot owners, they always stay a step ahead of the platforms. They always have, right? Just like they said on the CBS post I just sent you, or CBS video I just sent you. It's like a cat and mouse game. They know how to keep it moving. And they have to, people who do cybersecurity or people doing things like that have to be the cat and always chase his mouth and try to catch his mouse. But what X is doing is a good step, right? Showing the locations of accounts is a step in the right direction. It helps smoke out the fake voices that are intentionally creating wedges in our country. And let's be real, outside influences have been stirring American drama for a long time. Like this video talked about right here that I shared. It talked about fake MAGA pages, right? Fake conservative movement pages, fake pages of people who, I guess, all into the conservative movement. But it was on both sides of the coin because, for instance, there were fake pro and fake anti-Black Lives Matter pages because they know both sides generate engagement. They know engagement generates money. Now, X, for all things considering, they give you at least one way to check if the voice you're listening to is even someone in this country. But what about like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, right? So those platforms, you're not going to make that kind of money like you do on X on those platforms. But what you're going to do is you will make, I guess, it's ways of making money as a bot on those platforms. And you can see it a lot of times, right? It's harder to tell, but there are some simpler signs, right? So let me give you some examples on how you see this on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, right? So you watch some content or you come across some content, say it's a post, say it's a picture, say it's a reel. Same thing with TikTok too. I should mention TikTok. Same thing with TikTok. You see some content, right? Say you saw, I don't know, something about Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua about to have a fight. But then you see in the comments some girl saying, oh, you want to see my private parts? Click here. That's a bot, right? That's a bot. They always dropping these weird links, got nothing to do with the content. Then you click to see where the content, then you click to see when the account was created. When was it created? It was created literally like yesterday with one picture and one follower, right? But let's talk about the big picture here. So in the perfect world, people will recognize when a post is engineered just for engagement. They pause, they think, they regulate their emotions. But we don't live in that world. We live in a world where the damage is already done, where people believe anything that confirms their worldview. And that's where everything is us versus them. Politics, religion, sexual identity, something as minor as sports teams, something that's even more minor as iPhone versus Android. Everything is a battlefield now. Everything online is a battlefield now. And the bots thrive on these battlefields. In the upcoming episode of Broken Traditions, I'm going to talk about how social media created the us versus them mentality in the first place. So if you found any value in this content, please share this content. Let people know that X is doing something about this, and also let people know, hey, that thing that you was mad about, maybe it was created by a bot. That person you was arguing with, you was probably arguing with a bot. That person that you are affirming and saying, yeah, this person is real, that person was a bot. Because like I said, I've seen reports saying that 51% of the internet is fake accounts. Hope this content helped you guys. Check out my free workbook, the digital release, helps you break away from the digital incarceration of the cell. Ironically, it's called a cell, and now the cell is what's holding us in our digital incarceration. Let me help you break away. Download my free workbook at brokentraditions.com. Appreciate you guys. Peace.